Сьогодні Росія розпочала вторгнення в Україну. Путін розпочав війну з Україною, з усім демократичним світом. Він хоче знищити мою державу. Він хоче знищити нашу державу. Усе те, що ми будували, заради чого живемо. Я поговорив з Байденом, Джонсоном, Шарль-Мішелем, Дудою, Наусєдою. Ми починаємо створення антипутінської коаліції. Вже закликав світових лідерів задіяти всі можливі санкції проти Путіна, розпочати масштабну оборонну підтримку, закрити для агресора повітряний простір над Україною. Спільно ми маємо врятувати Україну, врятувати демократичний світ. І ми це зробимо.
The Security Council will now begin its consideration of item 2 of the agenda. Members of the Council have before them document S/2022/160, the text of a draft resolution submitted by Albania and the United States of America. The Council is ready to proceed to the vote on the draft resolution before it. I shall put the draft resolution to the vote now. Will those in favor of the draft resolution contained in document S/2022/160 please raise their hand. I request that those who are voting, I request that those who are against the resolution raise their hand. Abstentions, kindly raise your hands. The result of the voting is as follows: 11 votes in favor, 1 vote against, 3 abstentions. Given, in line with established procedure at the Security Council, this matter and this vote was procedural in nature. The draft resolution is now deemed to be adopted as Resolution 2623/2022.
The evil will never stop. It requires more and more space to conquer. If tolerated, it advances further and further. The draft resolution is one of the building blocks to build a wall to stop it. To stop in Ukraine and not to let it go further. The wall that will protect all of you, in particular younger generations. Distinguished delegates, by voting today, you also reconfirm your country's commitment to the UN Charter. I call upon all responsible member states to support the draft. Thank you.
The General Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/ES 11/L1 entitled Aggression Against Ukraine.
The result of the vote is as follows. The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 41, against 5, abstentions 35.
We shall now begin the voting process.
The General Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/ES 11/L2 entitled The Humanitarian Consequences of the Aggression Against Ukraine.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 140. Against, 5. Abstention, 38. Draft resolution A/ES 11/L2 is adopted.
I now give the floor to His Excellency Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky, the President of Ukraine.
We must do everything in our power to pass on to the next generation an effective UN with the ability to respond preventively to security challenges and thus guarantee peace, prevent aggression, and force aggressors to peace, have the determination and ability to punish if the principles of peace are violated. There can be no more exceptions or privileges. Everybody must be equal. All participants of international relations, regardless of economic strength, geographical area, and individual ambitions. The power of peace must become dominant. The power of justice and the security power, as humanity has always dreamed of it.
We witness that our liner is going through treacherous fogs towards deadly icebergs. It might seem that we should have named it the Titanic instead of the Human Rights Council. If not, we need to take an action today to save the Council from sinking. Suspension of the rights of membership of the Russian Federation in the Human Rights Council is not an option, but a duty. We view voting to suspend a state's Human Rights Council rights as a rare and extraordinary action. However, Russia's actions are beyond the pale. Russia is not only committing human rights violations, it is shaking the underpinnings of international peace and security. A draft resolution on the matter under A/ES11/L4 is a result of the collective effort of a cross-regional group of 24 states that represent all regions. It has been co-sponsored so far by more than 50 UN member states. I call upon all responsible member states to support the draft.
The General Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/ES11/L4, entitled Suspension of the Rights of Membership of the Russian Federation in the Human Rights Council. The voting has been completed.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 93, against 24, abstentions 58. Draft resolution A/ES-11/L4 is adopted.
The General Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/ES11/L5 entitled Territorial Integrity of Ukraine, Defending the Principles of the Charter of the United Nations. The voting has been completed. Please lock the machine.
The results of the vote is as follows. In favor 143, against 5, abstentions 35. Draft resolution A/ES11/L5 is adopted.
I have the honor to introduce the pre-recorded statement by His Excellency Mr. Volodymyr Zelensky, President of Ukraine.
Greetings to all people of the world who value peace and unity between different and equal nations. A special tribunal should be created to punish Russia for the crime of aggressor against our state. This will become signal to all would-be aggressors that they must value peace or be brought to responsibility by the world. Russia should pay for this war with its assets. It's also a punishment. This is one of the most terrible punishments for Russian officials who value money above everything else.
The proposal in front of you today is a proclamation that Russia must be held accountable for its violations of international law in Ukraine. It is reaffirmation of the need of a concrete mechanism for reparations that will breathe life into this proclamation. It is a call for the member states to come together and build legitimate international infrastructure to deal with the consequences of Russian aggression against Ukraine. record evidence of atrocities and preserve a hope for justice for millions of those whose lives have been changed forever by imperial neo-colonial ambitions of a small ruler of a large country. Ukraine is seeking peace. The preconditions for any negotiations outlined by President Zelensky are clear: restoration of Ukraine's territorial integrity, compensation for damage caused by the war, prosecution of war criminals. This resolution will bring us closer to this goal, and we must take this leap forward without delay.
We shall now begin the voting process.
The General Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/ES11/L6 entitled Furtherance of Remedy and Reparation for Aggression against Ukraine. The voting has been completed. Please lock the machine.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 94. Against, 14. Abstentions, 73. Draft resolution A/ES-11/L6 is adopted.
The General Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/ES11/L7 entitled Principles of the Charter of the United Nations Underlying a Comprehensive, Just and Lasting Peace in Ukraine. The voting has been completed. Please lock the machine.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 141. Against, 7. Abstentions, 32. Draft resolution A/ES11/L7 is adopted.
As we reflect on the 2 years of anguish and hardship, let us emerge from this place with a resounding message of solidarity and unwavering support to the resilient people of Ukraine. They have endured unimaginable suffering with dignity, courage, and resilience, and continue to marshal the strong determination to defend their homeland. As the United Nations and this General Assembly, we must stand with them in their quest for justice and peace. And as your President, I join you in this clarion call.
The Assembly will now take a decision on draft resolution A/78/L90 entitled Safety and Security of Nuclear Facilities of Ukraine, including the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
The voting has been completed. Please lock the machine.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 99. Against, 9. Abstentions, 60. Draft resolution A/78/L90 is adopted.
Now, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant remains occupied by Russian forces, unfortunately, and its at risk of a nuclear incident. This is the major source of radiation danger in Europe, possibly in the world. That's why in the peace formula I presented, the first point is about nuclear safety. In Ukraine, we know exactly what we are dealing with. And I want to thank you, the General Assembly members, for adopting a resolution in July this year on the safety of nuclear facilities in Ukraine. Most in the world understand what's at stake. The General Assembly demanded that Russian return control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant to Ukraine. Only then real nuclear security will return to Europe and the world. One day in this hall, it will surely be said that Russia's war against Ukraine has ended, not frozen, not paused, not forgotten, truly ended. And this will happen not because someone got tired of the war, not because someone traded something with Putin. Russia's war against Ukraine will end because the UN Charter will work. It must work. Our Ukrainian right to self-defense must prevail. Our cooperation with nations of the world who value life as we do, our territorial integrity, our sovereignty, the independence of our country. And we are defending what every nation would surely want to protect for itself and what the UN Charter grants to all.
Colleagues, the price of inaction or appeasement far exceeds the price of strong steps. If we allow Russia to continue aggression and go unpunished, this will create unacceptable risk for global security, nuclear safety, environment, migration, and other areas. Let's realize the price we have already paid for this war, a war that no one wanted except Russia. Let's realize the price we will have to pay for appeasement. Let's take real action for real peace, peace through strength. I thank you for your attention.